Welcome back to the Black and Gold Report. I'm Kevin Freeman. It's time to talk a little cross country now. We're joined by head cross country coach Gary Aycock. Coach, welcome back. Good to see you again.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
This is our first time talking this year, and although you've already had a couple of meets under your belt, which we'll talk to in a little while, I wanted for you to talk a little bit about each team, and I thought we'd start with the men's team this year. Right. You've got a lot of new faces, a bunch of freshmen on the team. Let's talk about the new men's squad this year.
Definitely a very young squad this year. Really excited. Each of these young men were actually recruited to make a difference with our team scoring. From Zach Millsaps, Daniel Glover, Dylan McCoy. You know, it's just tons of talent, not only from North Carolina, but as far away from Washington State to Virginia. We just recruited 7 or 8 guys that I feel can make a difference this year as well as into the future. Very excited about the possibilities.
And of course, this team is anchored by All-American Pardon Luvu. You know, so many accolades, so many meets that he's won. How important is his leadership, particularly for a team that's as young as yours is?
I mean, what Pardon does as far as his leadership ability is incredible. Men come in for preseason. Freshman men have never seen anyone like Pardon run. So there's a wow factor at first. Then they get to know him and what he's about and how he strives for excellence in everything he does. He's a perfect role model, especially for that incoming freshman who's really nervous about the start of the academic and athletic year.
And he definitely pushes them, I suspect, to try to get those personal bests.
Sure, absolutely, in everything he does.
Well, having so many inexperienced runners at this level certainly creates a lot of challenges for you as a coach. What are some of those challenges working with so many freshmen that have never experienced college cross country before?
Well, you know, we talk about the life of a student athlete, and the challenge not only involves what we do on the cross country course and on the track and practice. You know, try to get them a good start in the classroom, to make the most. You know, social decisions are very important, especially early on in someone's academic and athletic career. So just getting them to find balance in their life early on and just introducing them to the sport at the collegiate level. And it presents challenges, but, you know, with leadership and good influence up front, you know, good things are going to happen.
Sure, and right at the end of August, you threw them right into the fire with your first meet. It was the Gamecock Invitational 5K. The men finished first out of the 4 Division II teams that were there at the meet, and second overall, if I remember correctly, out of the 8 schools that were there. What were you looking for in this first meet? You know,
just a transition into collegiate running. Again, being so young with so many freshmen, I wanted to find them a competitive venue where they saw some talent in the race field, but yet not let it be our race distance, 8K, 10K, which we race in championship races, but, you know, introduce them to their season for 5,000 meters. And they responded well. We went out and raced and had a good race, and we're lucky to finish on top amongst schools of our like.
Excuse me, this last weekend, the men, it was kind of a different meet because you had a number of different schools at the Winthrop Invitational, where the men's team finished 15th out of 27 teams that were at the meet, but second amongst the Division II schools. Talk a little bit about Winthrop and maybe how that was different from the Gamecock Invitational.
Well, the Winthrop meet was huge. It was a Big South Conference preview for Winthrop because they're hosting their conference championship. So, you know, 30-some teams, 600 collegiate competitors. We didn't expect that when we scheduled that meet. But the guys responded. I think it was unnerving to the freshmen at first to line up with that many men on the race on the starting line. The course ran slow. They weren't pleased with their times, neither was I. But we met the goal in finishing in a place where I thought we could finish in that particular race field. But the guys have a lot of work to do, and we use that just to inspire this week's workouts and next week's, and looking towards a championship race.
It's kind of an unscripted question, Coach, but how do the runners handle it when you have so many people piled up at the starting line waiting for that gun to go off at first? I mean, it's got to be a little bit of a scrum at the beginning, isn't it?
It's just an every man for himself atmosphere. I just try to, you know, tell them to be relaxed, tell them to get a good start, get in position, and race the middle of the race. The race start, when you're talking about 8,000 meters, is fairly insignificant. But getting in a good position about the first mile is important for them to finish well.
Do you worry about players going down or having collisions right at the beginning during that initial charge?
You know, it's about getting back up when you fall. Right. It's about getting back up when you fall. It happens. But fortunately, we didn't see it happen at Winthrop.
Real quick, Coach, is the strategy different at all when you have D1 schools and D2 schools mixed together, or is it pretty much the same strategy regardless for you?
You know, I coach across the division lines. You know, you really have no idea who's going to show up on race day, regardless of who's entered, and tell them to go out and run their race, not anyone else's. And that's what we're going to have to do, you know, at our next race at Charlotte, as well as the Peach Belt Championships and into the Region Championships.
All right, Coach, we're going to take our last break. We're going to come back and talk about the ladies cross-country team right after this.